homeschool drinks.
Only the highest quality.
Only the highest quality. Yes. Hello.
Hello.
It's been a while.
Yes.
This is Sarah. She has been a big part of community for a while. She is definitely an oldie.
Thanks.
And
True.
She is someone who has helped start a lot of ideas. She's done a lot with community and starting a lot of the creative projects we have now. I kind of wanted to talk about that, of just the whole Unbound journey, what that's been like. Well, let's start from the beginning. How do you hear about Unbound?
Homeschool convention. What other way is there, right? Met Jonathan Brush in person when he came to Richmond. So I was all signed up for classes. It was still College Plus in the day, right? That's how old. I'm dating myself here. Yeah.
What was your first student event?
Apex 2015.
So what was your first impression of the community like at that time?
They were very accepting. Kind of funny story. I showed up with a yoga ball because I had back issues. You didn't know this? Okay, so I had to carry this yoga ball around. If anyone's watching this, they're like, that's the yoga ball girl, that's me. So I had to carry this yoga ball around like Atlas to the event, and everyone was like, are you okay? But they were so friendly, and there were a lot of student speakers and everything, and it was just very engaging.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I remember you as the girl at 2016 with the dog.
The dog, yeah, so yoga ball, dog. Don't even challenge me for what I can bring next.
Tell me about the dog and like what you were doing at the time.
So I had done some guide dog training prior to being enrolled in Unbound. Started school. It didn't occur to me that I could keep doing that, and I literally went to that Apex, and Jonathan was like, I just want you guys to do something. And I get in the car, and I've gotten this email from a guide dog lady, and she's like, hey, our local MDC station wants to feature someone training a dog. Do you want to do it? And I was like, I should think about this deeply. Then I was like, well, Jonathan said just do something.
Yeah.
So I just wrote back within like 2 minutes, and I was like, I'm doing it. No idea what I'm doing. And since then, I've done a total of like 5 guide dogs. So I did that all through school, took my backpack with my stuff to the local coffee shop, brought the dog, met the locals, had phenomenal conversations. Because people pour out their hearts when you got a guide dog with you, or just a dog. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Going through all that, and now, like, what do you do now? Tell me a little bit about that.
Hold up. Okay.
Am I supposed to drink this, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay.
You insulting my drink?
I don't know.
So, I am in grad school for clinical mental health. And it was interesting because when I was at Unbound, I kind of thought, you and I were both at Gap. I was like, I'm gonna go the nonprofit route. I'm gonna click around in heels doing something creative. But yeah, no, and then so that was the plan. Graduated in 2019, and then the plan just wasn't working. And I was nannying at the time, and I started hearing from a lot of the families how like it was taking 6 or 7 months for them to get in with a counselor if there was any issues with the kids. Heard another statistic that was like there's one counselor to every 800 kids.
Wow.
And I really felt God go like time to turn. And I fought it for a bit, and then COVID kicked in, and I kind of just had to make a decision. And so yeah, I'm in grad school now pursuing that. It's a little bit of a road ahead, but that's my status.
So it's a big transition.
Yes.
When you think that you know what you want to do.
We're so starry-eyed.
Yes.
And now it's interesting because I still feel like I'm imaginative and joyful, like all the Gap energy is there, but there's that reality lens, which maybe wasn't quite so set at the time. Or just even the humility lens to go, maybe I don't know what's best for me and maybe God actually does. But at some point you have to sit down with yourself and kind of go, do I actually know myself? Because the pattern is, I'm not picking things that are good for me. And yet when I yield to what God picked, like God threw out the guide dog thing, that was not my idea. And yet it was a phenomenal fit. And so finally I was like, okay, maybe this whole grad school counseling thing falls into that category again. And I just had to pick.
Totally. I think that we as students, we often have what I call our 5-year plan stage, right?
Yes.
Where we are like, all right, we're unbound. We're going to conquer the world. We have our 5 years planned out. Like, let's go. And we have all the energy in the world. And we are taught well. I mean, praise God for that. And we are genuinely blessed. But then we go out there and then we become young professionals. We live life. And we're like, wow, this is not
your voice goes up a few octaves.
It does sound like that. And we kind of, unfortunately, sometimes become cynical, and we just kind of like, you know what, this is not working.
I wonder if that's part of the stage, though.
Like, tell me about that.
Yeah, because I don't know, like sometimes you have to hit that rough patch. Like I feel like if I hadn't hit the rough patch, I wouldn't have been willing to turn.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, because I'm just too stubborn. I always say, there's the line, God is faithful, and I'm kind of like, I'm just glad he's more stubborn than I am.
Yeah.
Like, because I wasn't gonna turn if I didn't have to, because I'm just a very like driven person, and it didn't make sense. Like God's plans don't usually make sense up front. Like sometimes they do. I'm not gonna make a blanket statement, but at least for me, it's like they didn't make sense.
The things that we learn in Unbound are being extraordinary at the ordinary things, learning to rest and really seek God. It's not about what we can do. It's about being a blessing to our community, to our world, how to use the gifts that the Lord has given us to serve.
And I've started to realize my catch is I have to accept the ordinary. So I was fighting it so bad because it was like, well, I did this unusual school thing, so everything else should just sort of be unusual too. I'm the cool, I know, here, second cheers. And then you're like, oh, I need to accept reality. And like, you can tell truth, celebrate beauty, expose evil. You can do that in your ordinary moments.
Yeah.
But you have to accept the ordinary moments to be able to do them. Otherwise, you're just sort of fighting.
What would you say to your fellow Unbounders, all of us who are going through life and trying to figure out life where, it's a lot of times difficult, straight up, and seeking the Lord, going through this process of figuring things out? What would you say to them?
So interesting because there's the whole process. So in some ways it's hard to give a quick answer because it kind of depends on where you are in the process.
Totally, yeah.
I think the thing like that stands out to me that I kind of, if I could sit down with, little Sarah, I don't know if I would have listened, but I still would want to say it, is kind of like almost this idea of you're not actually going to figure out on your own what's best for you. You're not. You can sit here and you can journal and you can go to events. You could do all the stuff. You know what I'm talking about. Let me look away from the camera. But just sort of like, and in a sense, get freedom from that. And maybe submit earlier. Because submit earlier.
Surrendering to the Lord earlier, that's what you need?
Yes.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Cheers to growth.
Cheers.
Cheers to how we are unbound, but most importantly, may we surrender to what God has for us. And it's a journey, even though that's a cliche, but it really is.
It is. It is. And the scenery changes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you for watching.
Thank you guys.
Again, it's all about growth. There's so much out there to learn, but this is why we have community. And this is why we come together, especially at events, to encourage each other, to grow, to learn. So if you have an encouraging word, if you have something that you've learned through this process, let me know. If you want more of these and you haven't subscribed, please do. And Sarah, do you have anything that you want to shout out? Where can people find you if they want to, whatever you want?
So I have actually gotten off social media.
Good.
The logic is I want to work with kids and I want to pave the way for what does it look like to get off. So you actually can't find me online.
Gotcha. Well,
sorry,
there you go.
Little ninja right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. That's, again, part of what we're talking about.
Part of it, trying to apply the steps. Yep.
Cool. Again, guys, let's encourage each other as we continue to grow. So be unbound, and I'll see you around.